Welcome all to our Vanguard ZERO Content Creator Invitational. This match will be to determine who is first place between RCX Midwest Chief from Reality CX versus FGC Neo from Vision. Both of these players have played their best and have made it to the final round. Midwest Chief sporting Kagero versus FGC Neo's Shadow Paladin. This first game, it looks like Midwest Chief will be going first. Midwest Chief starting off riding Flame of Hope Airmo. Neo's gonna go ahead and ride Blaster Javelin. Using the skill of Full Bow, he's going to get a Blaster Dart from his deck to his hand. Chief losing a Barrier so early in the game. Chief rides into Bellicossi Dragon. Is he going to use Conroe to search for another Sentinel? And there it is. Attacking with an Airmo booster, he might actually need a card in his hand that he hopes to get from using Airmo's skill. And he's using Airmo's skill to discard Dual Axe Dragon to draw one card. Neo riding Blaster Dark and calling the main. There it is, the main drawing one trigger. A common sight to see in today's tournament. Well, in this tournament, not today's, in this tournament. Looks like we are getting an error message right here. Is it a little bit of technical difficulties on Chief's part? Neo going in for the attack, however, because... Oh, interesting, he's attacking anyway. But it's not going to do any good, as the main is too weak to hit that Bellicossi Dragon. There does seem to be a little... Oh, never mind. And Chief is back in action, riding Dragonic Overlord, the end. Calling another Bellicossi Dragon and a Heatnail Salamander. Going for Vanguard first without boosting, does that mean he's going to use the end so early in the game? Oh, and there it is, Persona Blast. Going to restand that Dragonic Overlord the end for another attack and drawing two cards. Going for Bellicossi first for that counter charge. And no trigger for Neo, which means that Overlord the end is going to hit. And that Heatnail Salamander retires the Blaster Javelin. Oh, and last but not least, Chief does get the heal trigger, putting him at 1 damage versus Neo's 3 damage. Oh, spoke too soon. It's a heal trigger on Neo's side as well. This game can honestly go both ways now. Neo going for the Phantom Blaster Dragon. Oh, and a Superior called into another Phantom Blaster Dragon. And Neo going for the early game Phantom Blaster Dragon to retire the air mode and gain 10,000 power and a critical. Both players putting on the early game pressure, trying their best to back their opponents into a wall. Chief does get a draw trigger out of that attack. Okay, Chief attack. I'm calling the Burning Horn Dragon and the Gojo. Not sure why he would call a booster. He doesn't really need it right now. Unless he's going for a second The End. Oh, and maybe it does. He's gonna need a trigger to hit that Phantom Blaster Dragon. Neo plays in the main, discarding Phantom Blaster Dragon to draw 2 additional cards. And another heal is drawn. The curse in the main, folks. Play in the main, draw a trigger. And top deck, Superior call another trigger. A very unfortunate but a common sight to see in this tournament. Neo going in with the Phantom Blaster Overlord into a draw trigger for Chief. Neo's gonna need a trigger to hit now, and he gets it. That is 1-2 Phantom Blaster Overlords. That's not on his Vanguard circle, folks. Chief is at 5 damage right now, so he has to be really careful about how he plays. Getting rid of the booster. Oh, a draw trigger. A second draw trigger. However, that is another The End that's not in his hand, unfortunately. And he looks like is he going for it? And yes, he is going for the second Dragonic over The End, restanding of this game. Tejas going for the main. Oh, no trigger for that attack. But now they are tied for damage. Neo with another in the main. Oh, and he didn't draw a trigger this time. I said it once, folks, and I'll say it again. The biggest surprise is not drawing a trigger from the main this whole tournament. And Chief does have the Sentinel, so he blocks that last attack. However, Chief might not be able to finish off Neo this turn. He has 2 Interceptors as well as 2 Sentinels in his hand. Burning Horn takes care of the Cursed Lancer. Dragonic Overlord hitting the rear guard, probably trying to use the Bellicosity to counter charge. However, there is that Sentinel to block that Bellicosity Dragon's attack. Neo does have 2 Interceptors, but then the main is not hitting anything anytime soon. Is he going to sacrifice his Sentinel to try to attack? Or going to reduce how many Interceptors he has by calling that Phantom Blaster Dragon? And he is going for that Phantom Blaster Dragon. Phantom Blaster Dragon going for that the end. And Chief has the second Sentinel to block that Phantom Blaster Dragon's attack. If Chief has 3 attacks this turn, then he's going to be in a little bit of a pickle, and he does with a Dragonic Overlord and Berserk Dragon. Going for the Berserk Dragon to bait out that Sentinel. And will Neo get that heal trigger? And is not a heal. RCX Midwest Chief takes the first game of the finals match. Okay, we are moving into game 2 of the finals match to determine who is first and second place of our content creator tournament. Okay, looks like Neo is going first this time. Neo starts off by riding Blaster Javelin. Using Full Bow, he grabs the Blaster Dart from his deck and passes it to Chief. Midwest Chief rides Dragon Monk Gojo. He's going straight for the attack. Interesting. Placing the Conroe to the left of his Vanguard. He must be really desperate to make sure he gets what he needs. Neo rides into Blaster Dark and immediately goes for the attack. And oh, Midwest Chief gets that draw trigger. Midwest Chief gotta ride that Tejas, and then using Conroe to grab the Bari. And another draw trigger for Midwest Chief. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9? Even though Tejas is only at 8k, have 8k power, it does look like he... Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. I was gonna say, Neo could probably only get 2 attacks off, but now he's aiming just at 1 with an extra critical. And into a heal trigger, putting him at 1 damage compared to Chiefs, Midwest Chiefs, now 3 damage. We gotta hope Midwest Chiefs did not need that airmo anymore. Midwest Chief calling 2 Dragonite Tejas. They can't hit them, but they do serve as good cannon fodder. Neo now going into Phantom Blaster Overlord. Discarding the main for the main, and let's see what he draws. A draw trigger, a familiar sight in this tournament. There goes the Tejas. Neo gets a heal trigger, but it does not go off because he only has 2 damage compared to Midwest Chief's 3 damage. But Chief also gets a heal trigger. Midwest Chief rides. Yes, the Draconic Overlord, the end. Now let's see if he was able to get the second copy in his hand. Interesting, the Bellicosity is going to be attacking. Boosted with the airmo. Maybe he doesn't have it yet. Oh, did not use the airmo skill. And does he have it, folks? He does not. Neo, on the other hand, does have his second copy of Phantom Blaster Overlord. Going straight into the battle phase after calling the Phantom Blaster Dragon. And he is also going for the Persona Blast. If Chief doesn't have a Sentinel now, he's going to be going to 5 damage. Look at it, the main can now attack the rear guard. And there it is, the Sentinel to block Phantom Blaster Overlord's attack. Neo currently has 4 Sentinels in his hand, but nothing to attack with if Midwest Chief decides to retire his front row. Because they're dragging, attacking in the main, and where's that Overlord the end going to? Straight to the Vanguard. Once again, he doesn't have the second copy, so that ends his turn. It does look like Chief is out of his heal triggers while Neo still has 1 left. And he will be activating Phantom Blaster Overlord skill, retiring the Phantom Blaster Dragon to retire the Airmo. Neo does get a draw trigger and drawing into a Masquerade that he could use for next turn. And Chief getting his own draw trigger. Now the tie for 4 for 4. However, Neo does have 4 Sentinels in his hand. Will Chief be able to break through this defense? Throwing down a Tejas now. Is Midwest Chief putting anything else on? Nope. Going straight into the battle phase. Is that the 4th copy of the end? It's at least a 3rd. Oh, I take that back, folks. Here's the 4th copy. And there it is, Midwest Chief restanding Dragonic Overlord, the end. And attacking with it first. And unfortunately, because he did not get a trigger, Tejas cannot attack, so it goes back to Neo. Neo with the draw trigger puts Chief at 5 damage. Things aren't looking very good for Chief right now. And there it is, Dragonic Overlord's skill, Counterblast 3, taking 5,000 power, and it can restand after it hits a rear guard. And unfortunately, folks, due to Neo having 4 Sentinels in his hands, none of Midwest Chief's attacks are gonna go through. This could be the end for Midwest Chief or at least for this round. Because I don't think he has 3 Sentinels in his hand. There's 1 Sentinel. But does he have 2 more? No, he does not. And nor does he have any heal triggers left in his deck. So we are moving on to game 3 with a 1-1 score. Next game deciding who the champion of our Vanguard ZERO Content Creator Invitational is. Okay, folks, we are moving on to game 3 of RCX Midwest Chief versus FGC Neo. The winner of this game will be the champion of our Vanguard ZERO Content Creator Invitational. Neo's taking the first move, and it does have the Blaster Javelin, I see. Neo using full ball skill to get the Blaster Dart past his turn to Midwest Chief. Neo taking a heal trigger, but it does not go off. And drawing into a second one. Neo's going to use the main skill, discarding Masquerade, and let's see what he gets out of this one. Oof. Not a great 3, but he did draw into a Blaster Javelin, which can get him the Phantom Blaster Dragon. Going a fall offensive right now, well, except for in the main. Counter charge from the Curse Lancer. And no trigger from the Blaster Dark Attack, unfortunately. It's not going to be able to attack with that in the main, so he passes it over to the Midwest Chief. Midwest Chief rides the Bellicosted Dragon. Classic move. Oh, and also uses the Berserk Dragon to retire the Cursed Lancer. Next up is the Burning Horn Dragon. Surprisingly, he's not going for the Conroe right now. Probably try to get in as many attacks as he can. Fortunately, that Burning Horn though is not going to be able to do much. But looking at Neo's hand, he doesn't have much to go with either, considering 3 of his cards are Sentinels. Oh, and he has to rely on a trigger now to hit Midwest Chief's Vanguard. And he gets it with a draw trigger. Neo's not playing any rear guards, which might give out that, well, might tell either he has way too many cards in hand, which is way many 2 grade 2s in hand, which is not in the case right now, or it tells Midwest Chief that he has at least 3 Sentinels in his hand. Attacking the rear guard first, so that his other rear guard will become a 13k power. And I'm not sure if you guys heard that just now, there was a small explosion. But don't be alarmed, it's just fireworks in the neighborhood. Since Midwest Chief does not have any grade 2s on his field, Neo would normally be able to attack whatever he as much as he wants to Midwest Chief's Vanguard. However, they're kind of lacking in the power department right now. Especially since Midwest Chief just got the draw trigger, forcing Neo to attack the rear guards now. Chief not riding into Dragonic Overlord the end. But he is going to retire. Oh, the Blaster Javelin. Aiming to clear out FGC Neo's board, I see. And Neo gets that heal trigger, but it's not going to do much considering Midwest Chief's goal is actually to retire his rear guards. Not riding the Phantom Blaster Overlord. He's actually going to play it? Oh, he is going to play it. Using them both to clear out Midwest Chief's field. Bring Chief to 5 damage. Scores 4 to 5 right now. Neo now has no grade 2 cards, so Chief can attack his Vanguard. However, he does have 3 Sentinels in hand. Oh, and no grade 2s from Midwest Chief as well. And there is the 4th Sentinel in his hand. Now the question is, how many does Midwest Chief have in his hand? Seeing as Neo doesn't have many options right now. And does he have the Sentinel? He does, blocking that attack. But Neo is also in a pretty good position right now, being at 4 damage with 4 Sentinels in hand. That means even if Chief concentrates all his firepower onto Neo's Vanguard, he's more than likely not going to get it this turn. Oh, and that's a Sentinel. Not getting a trigger. So that's all the attacks that Midwest Chief can do this turn. Neo checking if he has enough soul for Dark Dictator. Unfortunately, he does not. Oh, and he's going for it, playing down the Sentinel. And does Chief have the 4th heal trigger? He does not, and there you have it, folks. FGC Neo from Vision is our Vanguard ZERO Content Creator Invitational Champion. Let's give it a round of applause to him in the comment section below. We hope to see him compete again in our Vanguard ZERO Championships hosted by Pro Play Games happening this month.